Hey everybody, this is Brent here. It's my first YouTube video, so bear with me a little bit here. I got my daughter, Josephine. She's working the camera for me. I'm working on a 2006 Dodge Sprinter, Freightliner Sprinter. It's a diesel engine in it. I don't see very many videos out about auxiliary heater boosters not working. It's a pretty common problem, but nobody really shows a good fix on how to get them working again. I live in Michigan, so I need heat in my van in the wintertime, obviously. And without that heater booster, my temperature gauge barely stays in the normal range, and most of the time I won't get heat if I don't have that booster working. I went through last winter without it working, and I don't want to do that again this year. So I'm going to show you how to get that thing working again, and we'll go from there. Alright, so we're looking at the van here. It's behind the headlight, usually down in that pocket right there. I've already pulled it out. I was trying to figure out, what was wrong with it before I shot the video. So you just got to pull off the bumper pretty easy, and the headlight grill, and it sits right down here in this pocket. You got to take a 10 millimeter here and a 10 millimeter out there. The exhaust comes up through the bottom. Pretty hard to save the muffler when you try to take them off. They don't come off right. And then this is just a fresh air tube that I can just straighten back out and put back on. You got a couple coolant hoses, just pinch those off, and then you've got a fuel line here. You just loosen up and pull that off. Then it just pulls up and out. Pretty easy. Alright, this is the heater booster. You got your coolant lines, and then fuel line right here, fresh air tube right down here. It's a pretty small contraption, but helps heat the engine up. So if you take off you got 4 Torx head bolts right here. You take those off. Alright, once you get that cover off, you got a fan right here. And there's a motor under it. And this has to spin freely. And what happens is these actually get seized up, and so they don't spin freely. I've actually got a second one here. I was going to replace it with, if you listen, it makes a lot of noise when you're trying to rotate it, and it doesn't rotate smooth. And that's the issue with them. The motor's not strong enough to spin this if there's any resistance. So sometimes you can spray lube around these, and you can work them and smooth them out, and they'll actually clean up and work just fine. But mine, however, off the van, it would not clean up. I messed with it. But what I found is there must be corrosion and stuff builds underneath this plastic fan, and it just won't clean up. So as I was working on it, I damaged it a little bit. That's really not going to hurt anything because it's still going to spin just fine. But I took a pair of pliers. I had to take a couple of these plastic pieces out to get the pliers in there. But I took a pair of vice grips and I clamped, I'll show you, clamped down on it like so, and kind of worked it back and forth, and I actually lifted the fan up just a little bit, and now it spins really nice and free. So what I'll do is reassemble this and put it back in. You can take this apart further if you need to do more repairs, and nobody shows that either. But you can actually, I'm going to have my daughter hold the camera here while I show you. You can actually, show right here, you can actually disassemble, back up a little bit. You can actually, over here, look right down in here. You can see that's the motor. It's got electrical connector, and that actually electrical connector goes to the circuit board for the heater. But this is the motor here, and there's really nothing in there to cause a problem. And that's why I started lifting up on the fan itself, because there's nothing in here that would cause an issue. But nobody even shows the insides of these, so I didn't know that at the time. So I'm going to go ahead and reassemble this, and we'll see if it works. Alright, I'm back over here at the van with the heater booster. Got it put back together here. I left this cover off so you can see what this does and what I actually fixed. So we're gonna go ahead and put it back in and go from there. So it just sets back down into place, and there's a couple of bolts, and then you've got this fresh air pipe. So I'm gonna put this fresh air pipe back on. Hopefully I can get it back on. Alright, I got that back on, and fuel line above here. Not a lot of room to work in here, so. Alright, we've got a couple of 10mm bolts. Those just hold it in place so it doesn't try and go anywhere when you're running it. I can't seem to find the hole here. Alright, I got the heater booster back in and all hooked up. We'll look at it right here. You got a coolant line, another coolant line, plugged it in. You got your fresh air pipe on the back, your fuel line. The exhaust goes out the bottom, but I'm gonna have to go ahead and replace that muffler assembly just because it got too damaged trying to get it off. But we're gonna do a test run on it, make sure that it works, and go from there. So we'll look at this fan right here. After the engine starts, this fan is gonna spin. This fan is gonna spin here. I got my son in the van. He's gonna go ahead and fire it up here. Let's go ahead and start it. All right, go ahead and hit the button. You see right here, see how the fan's spinning. That means the heater booster is working as it should. It's nice and quiet, and then it shuts off because it's too warm outside to run it. So go ahead and shut it off, Branson. And then, so if you guys have any questions, put it in the comments. Let me shut the engine off here, it's too loud. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments here. I'll answer them as best I can. If you want any other videos, I do a lot of repair on my 06 Sprinter. I did some shocks and stuff on it this morning. But if you guys have anything that you want to know how to do, you know, it's starting to get cold out, so I don't know if I'll be able to do the video, and you know, soon. It depends on what you want. But you know, just comment and like my page, subscribe, and we'll go from there. This is my first video, and I hope it turned out good for you, and I hope you learned something on these heater boosters.